Are you tired of feeling like you're wasting paint trying to match a color that you'd previously mixed? If so, then maybe it's time to develop your color intelligence. Color intelligence is something I talk about a lot in my classes, and as artists I feel like it's so important that we have a sense of what a paint color is going to look like before we even squirt it out of the tube. We need to know what colors look good with other colors and how colors influence each other to create something entirely different. That way we avoid wasting paint and we choose the right color the first time. So stay tuned and see if you learn some tips that help you become a more efficient painter and improve your color intelligence. I really think the best way to enhance your color intelligence is to just spend some time playing with the paint. When I was very first getting started with trying to learn colors and how they look, I got several of these just cheapy kind of canvases, and I practiced squirting out different colors and just mixing them on there. And there's not really like a method to how I arranged them. I kind of started out with some greens and then kind of incorporated some blues and some yellows. But the big thing that I did that was really helpful is I just took a fine point marker like this and I wrote next to each one as I mixed them what ingredients I used. And then I kept these near my easel each time I painted, and they were a great reference tool for me so that I could look and say, oh, okay, if I want this color, it's going to be Viridian plus white. While this was super useful, I felt like I started to quickly discover it had some limitations. Each of these paint sample splotches were fixed in place, obviously, because they're on the canvas. So I couldn't really get a sense of what one color might look like next to another, particularly if it was far away, like on another one of these kind of canvases. So I decided I need something that was a little more flexible, that I could do something with. So I came up with the idea of making paint swatches. You know, when you decide to paint your living room a new color, painting the walls, you go to the hardware store and you go to the paint department and you look through the paint swatches. You don't just buy a gallon of paint and just hope that it's going to be the right color. You look at the swatches and you bring them home and you move them around your house and see what looks good with what. Well, I thought, what if I did something like that, but for oil paint? So I got some 3x5 note cards like this, and I cut them into thirds so that each piece looks about like this. And I really did what I did on that canvas, but I did it on these little note cards. And then I put them all in this nice little container with a lid, so they're nice and portable and protected. And then when I would paint, I could take the cards out, and they had the colors with the labels of identifying what the ingredients were for each swatch written down on the card. And I could move them around and lay them next to one another. And even if I had a reference photo that I was working from to create the painting, I could pull some of these cards out and lay them on or near the reference photo to try to match a color that I was aiming for. But really, whether you choose to experiment with colors on a canvas like this, or if you take the time to make the cards like this, just spend some time playing with paint. If you don't want to make cards and you don't have the canvas, that's fine. Even just take an ordinary piece of printer paper to a clipboard or some kind of other firm surface that you don't mind having oil leach through, because that can happen. But just start with some printer paper and mix some colors right on here and label them. There's no rule that says you have to put paint on canvas all the time. You can put it on other things too. And I find that the paper kind of takes away the stress because it didn't really cost me anything, so I'm not really feeling like I'm wasting anything other than maybe a little bit of the paint. One caution though, if you do make the cards like this, I would suggest making them and then laying them on some kind of surface like either a pizza box or a cookie sheet, some way that you can lift up all the cards at once and move them out of the way, because if you know oil paints, you know they take a while to dry, and so you don't want to be moving a whole bunch of individual freshly painted cards around every single time you want to sit at the table. So be able to move them all at once out of the way and then try to forget about them for a few weeks, because honestly, you know the oil paints take a while, so they're going to make smears everywhere if you're messing with them before they're fully dry. But I promise you, once they are fully dry and you can arrange them in some kind of little container, they are so worth it and such a valuable help, so that you don't waste paint and you choose the right color the first time. So I hope this helped you develop your color intelligence. If you have any questions or any other great ideas, please drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.